Calvin Wheeler is an American dreamer in a triple threat cage match with his two biggest adversaries, everyday life and himself. His marriage to the woman he believed to be his soulmate is rapidly evaporating before his eyes. The book he's been working on for over a decade is slipping through his fingers as he struggles to complete it. As these pressures grow, Calvin compensates by conjuring up outrageous road rage scenarios in the multiplex of his mind. To make matters even worse, he drives for a living. As his life, job, and dreams simultaneously implode, his wild fantasies begin to literally bleed over into reality. Now, with a gun in one hand and a steering wheel in the other, this distant runner-up in the human race feels empowered for the very first time. And the moral to the story? Traffic can be murder. Red Asphalt by Scott Cherney. Available on the Kindle and in paperback at Amazon.com. It's New York, February 6, 1964. The Beatles are making their appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show in one more day. The Plaza Hotel is crazy with the preparations. Alex Frazier, a desk clerk, has secretly let his brother Freddie use the penthouse suite for the evening so he can wine and dine the girl of his dreams. What Alex and Freddie don't know is the Secret Service are using the same room to hide spy novelist Henry Lade. His most recent novel has attracted the attention of the Soviets and East Germans. The communist countries believe Lade may have secretly discovered their plot to bomb Fresno. Assassins are dispatched to kidnap or kill Lade, whichever is easiest. What Agent John Parker and Henry Lade don't know is the Beatles are staying in the same room for their first appearance on American television. Let's Get Laid by Thomas Amo, available on the Kindle at Amazon.com. are here for another Friday night a little bit earlier. Normal?
We're doing the Dynamite Traffic Company.
Yeah.
So actually we're a little later. Well, it used to be 7 to 9, but I work till 7:30, so we can push it to 8.
Okay, let's see. Checking sound levels, checking everything, make sure everything's okay.
Check 1 2 2 1 check. Oh,
there we go.
Yeah,
What?
You sound good, Diana. He sounds like he's talking into a barrel or something.
Oh, he's further away.
Yeah, I'm further away. No, I'm up front.
Oh.
I'm
Okay, there
right
you are.
here.
Wow. Okay.
Exposed for everyone to see. Okay, that didn't come out right.
Okay, the only one that would see it was me because I'm the only one here next to you. Yeah.
Yeah. No more cry, Kay.
Okay. Is my radio too loud?
No, what? I don't hear it.
Of course, I ask that just as the song goes off.
Oh, jeez. Hey, just to let all the listeners know, if you go to Views Expressed on Spreaker, there's a podcast I put up and also my show, so go check that out. I wasn't here yesterday, although I did put up a podcast. And for some odd, strange, freaky reason, it didn't post. I have no idea why. Just didn't. So I went, oh well, no show. Yeah, what the heck. Hey, I got a subject. How's this?
Yes.
Yes. The holidays. We got Labor Day coming up. And we got, I know it's a few days away, but we have Halloween coming up.
Oh, wow, that's already, what is that?
Yeah, that's October.
I got 2 months and a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I've already started seeing Halloween stuff. Walmart's already moving their stuff around to make room for Halloween stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and we just saw a Halloween store that looks like it's going to open up soon.
Yeah.
What's that one with the big black
Oh, yeah.
thing? I can't remember the name of the store.
Oh.
It's the big orange sign with the black...
Spirit.
Yeah, Spirit. That's right, yeah.
If I was going to do something for Halloween, I wouldn't mind it a little early because you get closer to Halloween, the pickings are harder to go through, and there's not as many sizes. And
Oh, yeah.
but this is a bit early. I will 100% agree.
Yeah, at least I'm not seeing yet Christmas stuff.
You will. It's going to start being out by the
No,
end
actually,
of the month.
Actually, we did see Christmas stuff last weekend.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah,
we went to the Forever Christmas store up in Virginia City.
Yeah. Well, they're going to start because that's the main job that I worked forever. They start getting the Christmas stuff beginning of August, and what they do is they'll put out stuff from last year first, discounted, to try to make room for it. So if you see it, don't get too annoyed because it's from last year and they're trying to make room in stock.
Yeah. Well, what was really cool at the Forever Christmas store we went to up in Virginia City, Nevada, is they had Christmas trees hanging from the ceiling that spin. They have these little things you can hang your tree from the ceiling, and it comes down to like maybe 2 or 3 inches from the floor, and it just spins in a circle. And so all your ornaments get displayed as the tree spins around. I thought it was kind of cool that way. So it's a little different. You don't have the top of the tree, of course, because the top of the tree goes into the ceiling, but it's kind of cool.
I love Christmas trees and looking at decorations, and every year, even though I haven't put up on a tree since the first year I lived here, I buy myself at least one ornament every year.
Wow. Yeah, we usually
didn't put one I'll go to the dollar store because sometimes you get a few, but.
Yeah, I'll probably rearrange the furniture and put one up here, but we didn't do it last year.
Well, you're engaged this year, so it'd be kind of romantic to do it this year.
Oh, yeah, we could do that.
Oh.
And happy belated birthday, Diana, so anybody who's listening knows your birthday was this
Oh, yeah,
week.
you told me yesterday.
I know, but I mean, that way anybody who's listening knows. And I said I did have a card for you, but it kind of fell through. My friend doesn't have a stamp at the morning, so at the moment. So as soon as I get a stamp, you'll have your card.
Cool.
It's going to be late, but...
Oh, yeah, I got one from my stepmother. That was cool. She said, "Love you, Mom." Aw. Yeah, it's kind of cool because when I was growing up, I had my dad, my stepmother. I mean, I had my dad, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and they pretty much let me do whatever, I just kind of had the run of everything as long as I didn't, pretty much. And then my stepmother came along when I was 7, and she's observing, and it's like... I was getting up in the middle of dinner when the ice cream man came by, and she's like, "Sit back down, we're eating dinner." And my dad's like, "Well, just listen to her." That's all my dad would ever say is just listen to her. And then when she wasn't around, my dad would give in to everything I wanted. But, and then she put the rules down about bedtime. And all my dad would really say is, "Oh, just listen to her,"
Well, she probably should have been a happy medium instead of her coming in and trying to change everything immediately,
Well... Of course, that made her look evil in my eyes because everybody else is telling me, "Oh yeah," and then she's around. Now I have to listen to her, so of course she's the bad one. She's the one who's enforcing everything, so I'm not going to have anything to do with her. So yeah, I kind of made her life miserable. But when I grew up, I realized, some things that, not to say that my stepmother wasn't, because I'm sure there's some things she did that wasn't exactly. But for the most part, it was stuff that I did. And
did she have kids of her own?
Oh yeah, but her kids, by the time she met me at 7, her kids were like 16, 17, and
she knew what she was doing. She wasn't just coming in and being bossy. And
no, she wasn't.
Okay, because see that will make me nuts when somebody will come in, and I don't mean you by this, Wayne. When somebody will come in to somebody with children and they'll be all bossy and tell them what to do. And no, I don't mean you, Wayne.
No.
I know some people who, they don't have children and they'll go into relationships and they'll, sit there and think that they can tell people how to raise their kids.
I mean,
and I don't, like I said, I really don't mean you, Wayne. I realize it sounds like I do. I don't.
No.
Your situation was different.
It probably would have been better if my dad and grandmothers, had some kind of discipline on me. Because, I remember being 5 years old, staying up till like 11, 12 o'clock at night to watch that horror guy, the guy with the glasses. What's his name?
Bob Wilkins.
Yeah, I used to watch that guy when I was like 4 or 5 years old in the middle of the night, because he'd be on and I stayed up all night, And my parents they didn't make me go to bed. I just went to bed whenever I fell asleep, But not when my stepmother came along. I had to be in bed by 10, probably sooner than that when I was younger. But I remember
10's generous. I had to be in bed before that. So.
Well, I remember watching Dallas, and then I had to go to bed before Falcon Crest came on, so I think that was 10 o'clock because Dallas came on at 9.
Yeah.
I do remember going to bed after Dallas. But I did watch Dallas every week. I just never watched... Well, I did remember sneaking out, watching it, when they didn't know I was there.
I would do that. There was a vent in my room, and everything perfectly came up through there. Even if I couldn't watch it, I could hear it.
Yeah.
And I would lay there and I would listen, because they'd let us stay up late one night a week. We could pick a show, and I usually would stay up so I could watch Charlie's Angels.
Oh, my God.
So then there'd be other shows that I didn't see, and I used to hate, because I knew that the nights that Welcome Back Kotter was on, it meant that I had to go to bed as soon as it was over, so I never wanted it to be over.
So definitely for those who have children and you're in split parents, you have step siblings or whatever, keep things consistent. Don't make the other person come into the relationship the bad person, because don't you think my parents should have known the whole time I was growing? And I told her, just recently. I actually started talking to her after my dad passed away. Probably around 2006. I started talking to her again, and I told her, I was lashing out, obviously, because one side was giving me everything, and she's telling me this, and of course she's going to look like the bad person. So people out there who have relationships like that, please make sure to keep things consistent, because the other person is going to look like the bad person.
Yeah, but she did kind of, it sounds like she came in kind of strong and immediately trying to change everything.
Oh, yeah, and I was like,
she should not have done that either. That should have been like a gradual kind of thing, sitting down with your dad and talking about it and not just doing it.
Yeah, that never even happened. Yeah, I still remember sitting at the dinner table, and usually, right in the middle of dinner, even if the ice cream man was going by, my dad would stop eating and go outside and get me an ice cream. Well, my stepmother, I remember getting up one time, getting ready to run for the ice cream man, and she goes, "You sit back down right there. You're eating." And I looked at my dad, and my dad's like, "Just do what she says." He did. That's basically all he really ever said. He never enforced anything in front of her. He only... And there were times he'd say, "Oh, just listen to her. I'll get it for you when she's not looking." He would say stuff like that. So of course she's going to look like the bad person.
Yeah, and that
how can you not think that that's the reason why I lashed out at her?
Yeah, they should have worked on it together.
Yeah, and I did go back to her and say, I really appreciate what you did for me as a child, and I know I wasn't easy on you. And she said, "Yeah, you're the reason why we divorced." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know that."
Wow.
I was a pain in the
That was
ass.
kind of mean to say, though.
Well, not to me, because I understood it when she said it. The way she said it, she goes, you were the reason we got divorced. And I go, well, if that's the truth, there's no point in lying about it, because I was already telling her I already knew I was an ass. So to tell me that, I know I was an ass to her. I treated her like crap, but I don't think it was my fault, really.
It wasn't, because it wasn't all your fault. It was her fault too.
It was because of the inconsistencies.
And not speaking ill of your late father, but his as well.
Yeah. So it was the inconsistencies in the parenting. Effort. So see, I understand that stuff now. So see, I can look at things in a different light, and I don't hate her. I did as a child. I would spend hours trying ways of killing her. But, I was a kid, She was really miserable. She made my life miserable. My dad's telling me I can do this, that, and the other, and she's telling me, no, you can't, putting me on restriction, making me go in my room. Yeah, I hated her. I mean, the whole time I was growing up, I hated her. I mean, literally, I did not. That's why I don't hate anymore. Because I hated her because of something I did not understand. You know, until I got older, till I realized I really didn't hate her. It was
she meant
the inconsistency.
She really did.
Yeah.
Sounds like she really did.
So now I don't do the hate thing because I know somewhere in there's always an explanation for something, no matter what it is. There's still an explanation in there, even if it's one you don't want to hear.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I do my best to not hate. Sometimes I can't help it, but I do my best to try to get, when I feel that, I do my best to try to get through it.
It's not to say I can't get upset and angry. But yes, I do. But hating is a little too deep for I don't go there because I've gone there. I mean,
I don't want to. I try not to, but sometimes I still have a whole lot of hatred for my ex.
What?
I past that.
Wow, you're cutting out. I don't know if must be my Skype. Did you want to? Whoops, I'm sinking.
Oh, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, his chair's going down. His chair messes up.
I know
the thing doesn't stay up.
Apparently your phone was cutting out. I don't know if it's yours or my Skype. So
it sounds okay now,
though.
You still there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, see, it sounds good.
Well, I hear myself echoing a bit from time to time though.
Let's see.
Of course, now it's not going to do it now that I've said it.
Oh, okay, that's weird. Okay.
Yeah.
If it's bad again, I'll just call back in.
Yeah, let's do this.
Oh, you're gonna have her call back in?
Well, if you want, I'm gonna try to.
Well,
she sounds okay. I mean,
well, it's that little. It's like skipping every other word, and then a couple of words just dropped. You know.
Oh.
But no big. If it happens again.
If it does it again, let me know and I'll call back in.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, so I should do a thing on that, a little talk thing for people who have step families, people coming together. And the same thing, too, for those who have dual custody, because it's really hard not to turn one parent against another. If they go to one parent, they get whatever they want, and they go to the other one, now they have rules. It's like, that's hard.
My friend Justin has that. He's a divorced parent, and he's supposed to have joint custody, and his ex-wife is really evil. But he didn't pursue it. He could have legally had recourse to see the kid, and now the kid is 17 and wants absolutely nothing to do with him because she's all these years has become Justin's horrible and everything else.
Huh.
And he's not. He's not horrible. He shouldn't have been a father. And I don't say anything about anybody I won't say because he wasn't emotionally equipped to be a dad. And I've told him that. I'm not talking about him behind his back. This is stuff that he's agreed with and we've talked about.
Yeah, but I'm sure for my dad, I must have been a handful. I'm sure. I can only imagine I was a handful. Yes.
I believe you, but it's knowing you now, it's so hard to see you to think of you like that because it just seems so polar opposite of the person you are now.
Yeah, actually it is.
There's no reason for you to lie about it, obviously. It just seems so different from the you that you know I know over the phone.
I don't even know where I get my thought processes from because I would say I probably think really completely different from a lot of people. The way I process information and the way I see other people and the way I try to understand other people, I would say I'm a little different in that category. And certain situations, I'm not even sure how I would react to them because of the way I think. I mean, actually, I have done things differently in situations that other people would do. You know how in certain situations people always react pretty much the same way?
Mm-hmm.
Me, I would probably react differently. And, I approach things just, I don't know, I approach things differently because I think differently. And there's situations in my past I've approached differently, so I know that I probably would, but I don't know. It's hard to explain.
I'm getting annoyed by neighbors.
Everybody.
11:30 at night, and they're playing loud music. I'm sorry if I'm quiet for a minute. Annoyed by neighbors.
Did you call your place and complain?
We don't have after hours. There's no hours on a weekend or anything. So.
Maybe you should call it. It says you're still cracking up.
You heard that? Yeah. It's not you skipping. It's something with the connection. I don't know what it is.
Okay, I'll call back in.
Okay.
Yeah, that might work.
What I'll do is I'll get my other phone that's been plugged in longer, too, just in case.
Oh, yeah. And in the meantime, we'll go to break.
Oh, that'll work. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go to break now.
Cool.
What is happening in our country today is no less tragic than what has happened in our past. The battles that raged many years before led up to the tragedy of the Civil War. The years following were no less tragic. From World War I into World War II, from the Korean conflict to Vietnam, we have gone through a lot for a country that is 236 years old. What lies ahead will be in your hands. The future is you. Our destiny as a free and sovereign nation will be determined by our decision as to how we, the people, will defend this great nation. It is time. You must make a choice. Free and sovereign nation or complete and utter tyranny. The choice before the people is clear. You must decide today. Join Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook today. Go to freeamericaradio.wix.com/The Views Expressed for more information.
Listen to Angel Clark Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Radio Freedom News Network. RadioFreedom.us.
Have you heard about a show called Diane and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri? It's a talk show. Well, it's called Grab Bag Potpourri for a reason. They talk about everything under the sun, from education to politics, from lines at the cashier in the stores to parking lot drivers not paying attention. You want real radio? Well, you don't get any more real than that. That's Diane and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri talk show. Fridays at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a whole lot of fun.
We went to the streets to ask people, what do you like about Doc FM?
Oh, well, I think he's sexy. He has a very sexy voice, and he makes my headphones tingle.
I think the doctor is very smart. Everything he tells you, you must learn it, because it is smartness to know. Plus, he plays my favorite music. He plays like the 80s and the 70s and the 44s and the 62s.
J'ai pas eu une seule occasion de rester sans rien faire depuis que je suis arrivé à Camelot. Je suis trop occupé à courir derrière Arthur. Fais ci Merlin, fais ça Merlin. Et quand je cours pas derrière Arthur, je fais des corvées pour vous. Et quand je fais pas ça, j'accomplis mon...
Doc FM on Spreaker.com.
Well, it's no secret that Doctor won't play none of that countrified music, so I don't really listen to him that much, but when I do, it's a hold down. The first time that I listened to the Doctor, he was making fun of the British. After I got over my attitude, I came back and listened to him. He's wonderful and raucous.
Listen to Doc FM every Saturday evening, 7 p.m. Central, right here on Spreaker.com.
Back to the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. We'll reach into the bag and grab something. Hey, don't touch that. And we'll just talk about it. So there you go.
Okay, and we was talking about evil step-parenting. No.
Yes. Wait a minute. Your name's Cinderella? Holy crap.
For all the evil ones that are out there, there are just as many really good ones, too. My mom had a really awesome stepmom. My dad did. My friend Justin, I was just talking about, he's got, like, probably the world's best stepmother. Yeah. You know, and you never know what's going to happen with that.
No, she's okay. At least I talk to her now. You know, I started talking to her after 2006. She didn't even know my dad passed away because I had no way of getting a hold of her, and she lives in Iowa, and I was in California. And she called one morning at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't know why she called that early. I was thinking maybe she might have been asking my dad for some money or something. I don't know. And then I'm like, she called and asked for my dad, and I'm like, well, he kind of passed away. And I told her, yeah, like 2 years ago. And she was really like, really, you know. And then I started talking to her again. But she never did tell me why she called. I mean, I had money at the time when she called me. If she needed some money, I probably would have given her some. Once I told her my dad passed away, she kind of didn't even. But I'm thinking she might have. Should have asked her why she was calling at 5 o'clock in the morning, because my dad doesn't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know.
Something may have told her to.
But yeah, she could have asked me for something. I would have given her something, because at the time I had money when she called. But anyway. Yeah. But at least we talk now. You know, she's okay. Actually, she has, I think she has COPD with the smoking and a bunch of other issues too. But yeah, it's always good to have that reconnect, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't say that I've never, you know, I've been a step parent for a few months. No, it's a little over a year. And it just...
Well, longer than that, because it took you longer to get divorced.
Yeah. But I mean, how long were you active in their life, though?
About a year and a half.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that doesn't give you really enough time to build a foundation. It really doesn't. It has to be a while, and you really have to communicate with them. Their mother went, yeah, when I'm not around, do as he says. And I looked at the two older ones, and I'm like, you guys know what you're doing, right? Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Just, you know, make sure you don't piss your mom off.
Yeah, they don't want to make sure they don't kill anybody or themselves.
Well, see, that's kind of messed up, because, okay, if you're together, although you guys never actually lived in the same place for a long period, but I mean, really, if you're married, don't you think it should turn into being joint responsibility?
Yeah.
I mean, just because you're married and they're your kids, does it still become just your kids and not theirs? I mean, don't you think you should have joint responsibility once that kind of thing happens? I mean, you're married.
I do, but I don't think she wanted that.
Yeah, she literally just and I remember the day too, December 23rd, 2003. She said, "Oh, I'm done with this. I don't want this anymore." It's like, oh, okay. So, you know, I think what it was that, and I've got it written down somewhere, but one of the things she said was, when it comes to my kids, it's a dictatorship, you know, and it's like, well, I don't think she had a clue that type of attitude rolled over into the relationship she was having with me. So it got worse and worse after that, and then finally, you know, and I only worked maybe 10 minutes away from where she was staying with her folks, and I'd get there and I'd be, you know, whatever I was wearing, like a really loose shirt, and she's like looking at me going, "You going out in that?" You know, because we would go out, and so I go, "Yeah, what's wrong with it?" "Oh, nothing." It's like, really?
I don't get this. Weren't you like this before you got married?
Yeah.
I don't think you changed. I mean, seriously.
Yeah. I could look at her now and go, "Damn, that's a lot of body art you have on you. Is that necessary?" You know?
Huh.
It's like, yeah, she's got a whole bunch of tattoos now, and she's got some freaky ass emo hair going on, and still love her. I hope she gets her life straightened out, but damn, you know? It's like, come on. You can't, I mean, you really, I don't know. It's being either having a step parent or being a step parent, I think it's more challenging for, I think, not so much like I was the stepfather. It's not so much challenging for me. I think it's more challenging for the mother or the father, depending.
Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't have a problem.
Had pleasure.
Yeah.
I mean, my ex had 2 kids that in any given year, well, when I met him, he had a 2-year-old, I had a 3-year-old, he had a 4-year-old, I had a 5-year-old. So they were kind of one after the other. So, and I just pretty much, you know, I really didn't discipline them too much. I just kind of let them be themselves, and I don't know, I just kind of did with them what I did with my kids, you know. So, and now I'm still friends with Amanda. You know, she's 20 now, and I still talk to her. So, I mean, I finally hooked back up with her, and she has no idea what's happened to her dad, though. I mean, he was an alcoholic, so for her, she really couldn't care less. So, I mean, that part's broken. But at least we still talk, though, so that's cool.
Well, my mom had a stepfather. She was growing up. Her biological father passed away from, I don't know, she said, he was an alcoholic. And he was. I found out from my grandmother and other people as well that knew him. But the stepfather, same way. This alcoholic, didn't care, whatever. And I think there was more going on in that whole family because my uncle, was like, he was a teenager and started drinking and went into service and, all that. And, it's like, how do you deal with attitudes when one parent says, well, with my kids, it's this, and I do this, and there's a routine, and then you get somebody else in there that, doesn't know any of that, and all of a sudden wants to come in and say, well, I think it'd be better if this, and how do you deal with that?
I think maybe you should probably talk about that before you even get married. I mean, once you start living together, you should probably talk about it. Yeah.
I agree,
hard.
Diana.
Yeah, who's gonna discipline? Who's gonna do this? And I'd take him to school when I had to, and I'd take him, whatever, and it's like, okay, cool, I can do that.
Well, I remember for a while back when you were still living in California, there was a couple times, you guys were like long since you broke up. When you and I were talking, you would go and pick up your stepdaughter from work a couple times.
Oh yeah, and it was great, and I just. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. If they needed help, and they came to me and said, hey, hey, whatever. Let's see what I can do. It's, that's just the way it is. Because I'm that type of person. My mom and dad really, as much hell as I put them through, they, taught me a great deal. I talk about my mom being a control freak, and she is, but that's how she grew up. That was a totally different era, and so looking at it from a 16, 17-year-old who's going to work every day and having to do homework and having to, do all this and working full-time with an alcoholic cook who doesn't show up half the time, and she has to cook and clean and take orders and, all this, so yeah, she wound up, having to do a whole lot. And then her stepfather passes away, and then her mom, and all this. Her mom moved in with my aunt. They were sisters, and so, and it's just dealing with that whole situation growing up is from that era. From 1946, 47, 48 to 1980 to 88. That kind of thing, and dealing with me going through school. It's like, yeah. I have I have a lot of experience, okay? But my folks did what they did, and did the best they could. It's like my mom said, where did we go wrong? And I go, you didn't. You did the best you could.
What, is there something wrong with you to think that they went wrong?
It's like, no, just because because I am, from my perspective, I don't know, they would say this or whatever. But from my perspective, I'm kind of like the black sheep. I don't listen to anybody. I don't want to listen to anybody. I'm not in their little cookie-cutter world. If I went to school, went to college, got a degree or whatever, oh, hell, they'd be bending over backwards to send me to the best schools. But I didn't. I went, I feel better being me. I don't want to be in that whole realm of, academia, even though later on I became that. I educated myself for a very long time, and I wasn't really a social person, but then later on became social because I'm an actor, singer, did all that. So they taught me a great deal. Now in a relationship where you got a step parent and all this, how do you deal with somebody, a child, say a teenager, 15, 16 years old, has their own mind, has their own thing, developing their own, self, identity of their own, personhood, and having to come in with a step-parent saying, hey, wait a minute, your mom said this, your mom said that, or your dad said this, your dad said, how do you deal with that? I mean, I know you and I, Laura, never, we're in family with step-parents.
Yeah, I never had one that was that old.
Yeah, and I didn't. My mom and dad worked together until my mom passed away.
Yeah, but it's
he
interesting.
Never remarried, so.
I would probably just pretty much follow what the other parent does. I mean, I would, whatever parenting style they have, I would just try to stick with what they're doing. I mean,
unless they're really bad.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, in that case, okay, also look at it this way. You're in a relationship with somebody. How they treat their kids is a reflection of them, too. I mean, if they're abusive to their kids, do you really want to be with that person anyway? I think if you get with somebody who's raising their children and they're raising their children a certain way, you're already learning a lot about that person's personality and the way they are. And if you get into a relationship where they're raising children completely different than the way you think, then I don't think that their values go with your values in the first place. Because already, you learn a lot from that. So I think you should take that into just like when you get into a relationship, you should pay attention to how they treat their parents. You should pay attention to how they treat their friends. What do their coworkers say about them? I mean, I think you can pick up a lot of that.
If you're with somebody who has absolutely no friends, there's just generally a reason.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's always little things about a person's personality you pick up.
I've seen single parents. I've talked to single fathers that said, my God, I never knew how hard it was. I don't know how these women can do it. I'm like, well, you do it, don't you? Yeah, because I have to. I got to be mom, dad, and best friend to my kids. And I'm like, well,
You start off, you don't be their best friend, you be their parent.
Yeah, exactly. But, it's like, I've known I've known single fathers that when their kids were older, like, 10, 12, 13, say, hey, let's go out and go grab a bite to eat or something. And the kid's like, well, Dad, well, come on, It's like, let's go eat. Let's go to a movie or something, and they do the family thing. And it's like, I think that's incredible that, single parents can do that. But then
if they can afford to, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But then you get this, this portion of their life when dad starts to date, and then, the daughter or the son go, that's not mom, but she's, telling me, and it's like, so you get that resentment at first, And like I said, it takes a while to kind of gel with, the kids and the new person in the house, It's like, for a family that likes the dog in the house and sleep in the house, and the step-parent is going, no, dogs belong outside. Yeah, so...
Well, I wouldn't marry somebody that thought that.
Exactly, me neither. My dog's sleeping on my bed, thank you very much. Come on in, get on the bed there,
that's
Bubba.
something for me, I would want to know ahead of time. I would not want to be with somebody, I'm not going to tell somebody how to raise their animals, but my animals are in the house.
Yeah. I don't tell people, and I've got more women friends than I got guy friends, and they're mostly mothers, and most of them are single mothers. And I tell them straight up, I'm not trying to tell you how to raise your kid, because I know you're learning from your parents and what you're doing the best you can. And very few of them say, well, how would you do it if you were the parent? And I'm just like, well, here's what I would do, and I would tell them. And they, systematically throughout their day do stuff, like that. And they say, how do you do this? You don't even have kids. How do you know this? And I'm like, because I was a child at one point, and I know how my parents dealt with it. And sure enough, boom, it works out.
Most parents, though, they don't want advice from somebody who doesn't have kids.
No, they don't. But some of my friends are really respectful. I mean, I know a lesbian couple that have kids. They've adopted, and, oh, man, I was blown completely out of my freaking mind that they are so good with these kids, man. It was just wonderful. Yes, I do have gay and lesbian friends, by the way. And it's just amazing. I mean, the step-parent come in, and then the step-parent saying, well, you got to do this. And, if you've been not having a whole lot of structure or routine, then, yeah, it's going to upset the kid, and the kid's going to rebel. But I think even with two married couples or whatever, it's like they're going to rebel anyway. But still, it is tough. It is tough.
Yeah.
But anyway, if I was living in California right about now, I'd be at the theater. So, yeah, this is Friday. I'd be at the theater right now. So, hey, going to the Spreaker chat room, I want to say hi to Daryl Dillard, who happened to be in the chat room he came to my show, The Views Express.
Oh, yeah. Hi,
shared
how you
some
doing?
stuff. So, hello, Daryl. Oops, sorry.
Yeah, if you have any topics you want to discuss, just pop them in the chat room.
We're just talking about step parenting and the kids.
But we're grab bag. We can move around.
Yeah, we can. But Laura, I was going to ask you, I mean, you know people who are step parents, right?
Yeah.
How do they, I mean, do they have older children or do they have younger?
Usually a mix of both.
Oh, okay.
Like my friend Pasquale, he's not a step parent yet, but he's dating a woman who's got a daughter, an 18-year-old, and his ex-wife just got married, so these kids have several sets right now of, potential step parents, and not easy.
No. I wonder, I mean, I've talked to a lot of kids who had step parents and one being my mother, but I just wonder, I'm curious as to how stressful it is on the children when you get into a situation where there's this new person in the house and you got to,
very stressful.
I mean, how
Diana would know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
at 7, yes.
At 7, yeah.
What really ticks me off, and I still remember this, I stayed with my grandma on the porch in front of the house because we had a trailer court. My dad bought a trailer court. In front of the big house in the front, I'm sitting there, and my dad and my stepmother went off and got married. And I'm sitting there on the porch, and they're gone all day, and then they come back. They didn't even take me to the wedding, have me any involvement in the wedding or anything. It's just they just went off and got married and just came back. Oh, okay.
Yeah. See, my friend Pasquale, that's what his ex-wife did.
I think I should have been in on it.
No, she got engaged. I'm the one that told him she'd gotten engaged. I'm the one that had told him, because I'm friends with both of them. I was the one that told them that they were living together. I was the one that told them they got engaged. I was the one that told them that they got married. Because it was on vacation. They went down to South Carolina. It was planned because she had a dress and everything else. And he's really mad that she didn't have the kids there. Like, it's their choice, but they really should have. I mean, the kids are going to always wonder why they weren't there.
Yeah, they didn't even ask me. Oh, my gosh. It's just they got married and not even take me. Why not? Did they think I was going to be too wild? I don't know. I was a wild child. I don't know. Yeah, when I was 6 or 7, because my dad owned the trailer court, there was a guy there that had a daughter, and she was about my age. And I remember we were standing there, and he was talking to this guy with his daughter standing there, and she didn't say a word. And I was like all antsy, and I remember my dad saying, "Boy, I wish she could be like that." Basically, this girl could not talk unless she was spoken to.
Oh.
And I mean, she was just like, and she's just sitting there, and she's like, "Yes, ma'am," or "Yes, sir," or whatever, I mean, and okay, I'm not. There's no way on earth you could get me to do that.
He was probably too strict.
Yeah, he was. I mean, that girl. I remember standing there with her. I still remember standing there with her. She did not say a word unless she was spoken to, and he even said, "Yeah, my daughter does not talk unless she's asked to talk." And I'm like, she's my age. I can't imagine what that girl turned out like. I mean, gosh.
She's probably in an abusive relationship with a guy who walks all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
It's the silent ones.
To be subservient to the man.
It's the silent ones you have to worry about, especially when they got a 9mm in their hand.
Yeah, who knows? There's no telling what this guy was doing to that girl. I have no idea.
Yeah, Daryl said, parenting is always good. I had step-parents as well as being a step-parent myself. It's an experience all the way around. Yeah, the operative word there, experience. Holy crap. I mean, but it does take time for the family to gel, the mixed family. It does take time. You just can't, it doesn't happen overnight. I've had some people look at me and go, "Well, yeah, it does. All you got to do is set down some rules." It does not happen overnight, trust me.
Okay, our place was literally locked up like Fort Knox. I used to go into, because my stepmother did ceramics, she had paint stuff. She did. The first time I met my stepmother in one of the trailers, because my dad met her in one of the trailers that he owned, I went in and she was doing like one of those 500 or 1,000 piece crossword puzzles all over the table. It was all over the tabletop as she was doing this puzzle. The first thing I did was walk up to that table, take my hand, and swoop the whole thing to the floor. And then I got into her paints because she had paints, and I don't know why nobody was watching me, but I opened every one of those containers and squirted it all over the floor. I mean, why was
trying to give you some discipline?
Yeah, I mean, I was that. I mean, it's like, oh gosh, you know, and that was before they got married. She should have known better. I mean, I was giving her a piece of what's going to be like. But I used to go into their bedroom. I used to break into, she had a piggy bank. I used to break into that. I used to knock things over, break things, get into all her stuff. She literally put a lock and key on the door. She literally ended up putting a lock and key on the hallway cabinet doors so she could put her private stuff in there. And eventually, before my parents actually, she left for the last time when I was like 14, and she never came back, she had the kitchen cabinets all on a lock and key. I mean, she had literally locked up every cabinet in the house. And her door. You couldn't get on it. Was that she had to actually put a lock and key on everything. So, yeah. Sometimes I would just break her stuff just because I wanted to break it. I mean, I just wanted to make her mad. I don't know. Maybe I thought if I made her angry enough, she'd leave.
She did.
So, but I would break her surround. I mean, I did a lot of stuff, and I feel bad about it now. And I've told her that, you know. And I told her why. I go, you know, if y'all both would have given me discipline together and not, like, you know. And she even said that I go, why didn't you guys get me counseling? And she goes, well, I did ask your dad to get counseling, but he refused. And I go, oh, I didn't even know you discussed it with him. She goes, yeah, I discussed having counseling for you, but he flat out refused. So, yeah, so I guess she did try. And he said no.
I mean, it's amazing.
So.
I just, like Daryl says, it's a long process of learning and experience for both the step-parent and the child. It's true because the child is used to one thing.
Everything.
That would be the parent and, you know, all that. But then you get this extra person in there or this other person in there, you know, to take somebody's place or, to, you know, whatever. It is a very, very long process. And I look back at it and I'm going, hell, that was an experience that, you know, taught me, it taught me a lot of things that, you know, even my oldest stepson, I think he still lives in Sacramento, but, I mean, he literally, when there was one time, you know, the kids were being rambunctious and being kids and teenagers, and my wife walked out of the house saying, you know, you're just like your father. You never, blah, blah, and just went off. And she walked out, went out to the deck, you know, in the house and stuff. And my oldest stepson said, yeah, there's a lot I want to say, but I just can't right now. And I'm like, okay. You know, and as a step parent, you know, you just go, okay, you just let them, you know, whenever they want to say something, you know, and I don't, you know, you talk about discipline. I never even thought about it. It's just like, I know the two oldest ones are helping the youngest, you know, and that's cool. That's all right, you know, but what I couldn't stand is the yelling, you know. My ex literally picked up her son, her oldest, and literally threw him against the wall.
Ooh.
Just picked him up in the bathroom and threw him against the wall inside the tub.
So did you say something?
I didn't say a word. About a week later, my stepdaughter was, you know, not really mouthing off, but she just, you know, she learned, you know, just walk away and if you're angry and all that. And then, you know, and my wife walked in and started taking her hand and backhanding her the back of her head and slapping her and, you know, crap like that.
Well, with your temper sometimes, I mean, did you ever blow up at her?
No.
Huh, that's weird.
I know, it's really odd, but I felt, even now, I feel sorry for him. for the kids. I don't feel sorry so much for her because the last time I talked to her, which was just like a month ago, talked to my ex, she was saying that, I'm not going to go into whole, private detail, but let's just say I just hope that things really, really get straightened out with her specifically because the kids, the oldest, left. My stepdaughter was 19, met somebody on the internet and went to San Diego, and about a year later came back, without him. And
wasn't he older too?
Yeah. And my stepson, the oldest, he had a girlfriend, and his girlfriend her dad had a lot of connections and a lot of money, and so got him a job, and he left and went elsewhere, and she's just got the oldest, and I think he graduates this year or next year or something like that. And it's just, the kids rebelled. It was just like, I'm getting away from this crazy lady I call mom. And literally they left. And I hope they're doing good, but still I have this little, this little sorrow because their mother treated them as she did, And it wasn't every day. I mean, there were some really good days, but...
It'll come back to haunt her when the kids want nothing to do with her when she's old, or they put her in a really crappy old folks home.
Yeah. It's like, take her to Romania and stick her in Dracula's castle or something, I don't know. I don't wish that on anybody. But, it's one of those things where, you just got to... And again, it's true. It's how you deal with the stresses of having someone brand new in the house that isn't your parent. It is. It's tough. Yeah, it's almost the top of the hour.
Yeah, I've had my experience. So how long are you going to go tonight?
Oh, I don't know. How long you want to go?
Because I don't know. I haven't really eaten dinner yet, except for some chicken.
Well... Daryl, that's cool. I got to read this. I can't read. See, they need a better chat room because I'm sitting over here by the mic and I'm looking at the monitor and I can't really see it. It's like maybe a foot and a half away. It's either that or I need glasses. He says you have to keep in mind, Daryl in the chat room says you have to keep in mind that you're not only marrying a spouse, you're marrying a ready-made family. And that's true. It is very important to keep the child involved in the whole process, from the beginning. As an example, I asked my stepdaughter what she thought my asking her mother to marry me. I also made it clear to her that it would not happen without her approval as well as the mother's. Well, that's true. I've talked to a lot of women who were getting married, and the father, the new spouse wouldn't even consider that. But some of the mothers, like some of the women that I know that married men with children, they would go to the children and say, what do you think? And that's cool. I think helps the children say, hey, this person's
there was a woman years ago. She found out she had cancer and she was dying.
Yeah.
So she started making a bunch of with VHS tapes at the time, back in like the mid '90s for her daughter, because she knew she had breast cancer. She knew she was going to die. It started when she was still healthy and went up to the time when she got sick. She made a tape for like her 16th birthday, and she made a tape for her prom, and she made one in the event that if her dad wanted to start dating, so that it would be okay with her daughter, and know that's what she would want. She would want Daddy to find somebody else so that he wouldn't be lonely anymore, because he was still a somewhat young man. And he ended up dating somebody, and he had told her that he wanted to ask her, the woman, to marry him, but it wasn't going to be okay until it was okay with her, and the girl said not yet. And the dad respected that, and so did the stepmom-to-be, and the stepmom-to-be took it upon herself to start getting to know her. Just the two of them would spend time together. She'd go and she'd spend the night at, her house, and they'd have girls' nights and get to know each other.
Yeah.
And then the girl went to her dad and said, Dad, at the time.
Yeah.
But the mom, had prepared her for it, saying, I don't want you to think Mommy doesn't want that.
Yeah.
And then they end up getting married, and they end up having another child or two.
Wow.
I'd seen it on Oprah, and every time I think about it, it makes me cry.
Wow.
But that's just,
Jeez.
That's like, I would have been okay if my dad would start dating, because at the time I was 14 when my mom died. So,
Yeah.
I was just about raised. I mean, there was a little bit more to it. I just would have beat the crap out of somebody who was mean to him. But there was no way in hell that, you should have seen the widows in the neighborhood and the divorcees circling, though. But ultimately, I mean, my mom was barely in the ground, and this one needed this fixed, and this one needed that fixed, and I'm like, oh, hell no.
Yeah, I love it.
My dad would never have married again. My dad was one of those one-woman man, and I mean, said he died 46 years old, 3 years after she did, of a broken heart.
Jeez. Man, that's young. That's too young.
My mom was 38.
Yeah. Jeez.
That's why I don't smoke.
Yeah.
That's why I'm trying to get my weight under control and, be healthy.
Yeah. She's hungry. She'll probably go eat if she wanted to, but I don't know.
Fine, I'll go eat if I want to.
But,
lately, I found this YouTube site. I forgot the name of it now. But it plays YouTube, it gives you direct links to YouTube videos for TV shows. And I've been catching up on Friday the 13th, the series that came out in 91.
Yeah, I remember watching it.
Yeah, and there's a site I go to that gives you direct links to the YouTube videos. You don't have to catching up on the shows. I'm already in the second season. They only made 3 seasons. But I just realized watching them one after the other that there's a lot of them I haven't seen before. So it's pretty cool. If you like cursed antiques, you'll definitely like Friday the 13th series. And I don't know if you've bookmarked the link.
I did.
But I put it on my Facebook page.
Let's take a look.
Yeah, it's just some guy put up a link to, and it has everything on there. It's got all the TV shows, a lot of the 70s shows, a lot of the 80s shows. It's got links to movies, things that are on YouTube, but sometimes it's easier to get them cataloged on a website than it is to go try to find them on YouTube. And you don't get the commercials. Does the commercials.
I do that with my favorite dance routines from Dancing with the Stars. Instead of having to watch the whole crappy show, I can just go back and watch the actual routines that I want to see.
Yeah, I go to Hulu, and I haven't seen the second episode yet, but I've watched Apparitions. I've watched a movie called Blood, the Last Vampire, which is from the anime Blood Plus. I mean, it's a live action. It's really, really good, I have to admit.
Yeah, and I just now saw, I looked on my computer, so I got the name of the website. It's called ytepisodes.com. And basically it's just YouTubeepisodes.com. So, but you got to put it in www.ytepisodes.com. There's links on there anywhere for if you want comedy, you want British comedy, you want horror, sci-fi. They got a lot of stuff on there. I mean, they got Tales from the Dark Side. They've got Golden Girls. And they're all seasons, complete seasons, or some of them have a couple of seasons. But I mean, it's a quick way to get straight to the YouTube videos instead of having to search all over YouTube to try to find. Because I have a hard time with that. I'll go to YouTube and I'll search a TV show, and it'll give you part 1, part 2, part 3, or whatever. And then I go to play part 1, and I can't even find part 2. It's like, and it's just ridiculous. But these videos off this website, they're all intact. There's no pieces. Like Friday the 13th I've been watching, it's the whole 43 minutes of the show or whatever. It's not pieced in any sections at all. Everything that I've watched off this website connected to YouTube are straight videos. There's no part 1, part 2, part 3. I mean, they seem to be all the way, just the complete thing. So, yeah, I would definitely check that out, ytepisodes.com. And it's free, it's all free going to YouTube.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, we downloaded the 2008, I was going to say Broadway, but it is on Broadway. It's in a different theater on Broadway, of Rent 2008. And it was on Broadway for 12 years, so this was the last 4 nights of Rent, and they've since had a revival in the last year or so. But we download that. She downloads it. I was out. We were out and about yesterday, and I went over to Barnes and Noble, went in the DVD section, and there it is.
Oh yeah, so that's cool. You can get it at 8. Well, I got the HD version, but you get the DVD.
Yeah, and if you have not seen it, please see it. Literally.
It's those moments when the phone starts ringing. Huh? It's those moments when I wonder who it is. Okay.
Don't know. That's.
Actually, that's my ex-husband, but I can always talk to him later.
Yeah, I don't. That was weird. I take it off the thing and it rings.
Yeah, it rang once and that was it. But anyway, yeah.
Odd.
But also another thing I was gonna say. What was I gonna say? Oh my gosh, I totally forgot what I was gonna say. It had something to do with movies. I forgot. Oh, I was reading an article today that talked about cable. How so many people are getting away from cable and going to because I mean, I was. It was an article on Yahoo. That talked about how so many people are getting off of cable because everything is so expensive, and it's like people are paying $100 and something bucks, for cable, and half the channels that are on there people don't even watch. I mean, I only watched maybe Sci-Fi, Lifetime Movie Network. I mean, there's only a couple of channels, and so people are getting away from that and going to like the Roku box. They're going to like Hulu. Netflix, things like that, because it's cheaper. I mean, it's cheaper to pay $8 a month, or even for Hulu and Netflix, you're paying less than $20 a month. And like this one guy said in the article, he's got a 27-inch computer monitor. So looks like that person wanted to call back again. Well, I'd let the machine take it because I can call back.
Yeah.
But
you should answer it.
Oh, gee, okay, fine, I'll answer it. Okay, I'll be back.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, it's interesting because now, and I've seen this on different articles where people are dumping their satellites, their cable, all that, and watching, everything on their computer. They have 15. 16, 21-inch, 25-inch, monitors on their computers. So why not? Just get the Roku box, plug everything in there, and there you go. So, but anyway, yeah, it's probably the cell phone that that her ex has, and he's probably butt dialing her.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's butt dialing me because I picked up the phone and all I could hear was people in the background and noise. So I think he butt dialed me.
Then you gotta call him back and say, "Hey, stop butt dialing me."
I know you're an ass, but it doesn't mean I want to talk to it.
Yeah, exactly. Your ass called me again. But yeah, more stuff. Yeah. So it's I don't know. I've been weird. I've been watching a lot of musicals lately and listening to musicals lately. Don't know why. No, I know why. I'm theater, actor. That's what I do. But getting more ideas for a reception theme, So, yeah. But hey, can we change gears? We'll go another 20 minutes. How's that?
Sure.
She's probably grabbing something. I don't know. But
I'm just trying to call him back to tell me he's butt dialing.
Oh, Jesus. Call him in.
Did you know that you guys are like butt dialing?
Anyway. So what's on your mind? What other stuff shall we talk about?
Don't know.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, yes, and I do apologize for upsetting you earlier.
You mean making me cry?
Yeah, that too. Because that's not fun. Not fun.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, so there you go. Not being sarcastic, but just Anyway, man, I got a hairball.
I laughed though. Then when because I wasn't going to come to the show because I was mad too. But then I went to my Facebook page and I saw that you had put that cat on earlier. You put a picture on after we had a little blow up earlier. It was like 5 minutes before showtime. I go to my Facebook page and hours ago he put this cute little kitten picture on my Facebook, and it's tilted pen, says, no more cry, Kay. And I thought, oh my God. And I just started to laugh. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll call in.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I called my ex's house, and I guess his wife says that he's at Winco right now with the phone, so I don't know what he's doing. He must be butt dialing me while he's walking around the store. So those are the noises I'm hearing.
My friend Justin does that constantly when he's at work. I'm constantly getting butt calls from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, what makes it dial? It must be like I must have a number on his auto dial. I mean, why would he?
Auto dial, or maybe the last number that he called on it, or
okay,
your last number that called him. Because Justin, I'm auto dial for my friend Justin, but I'm usually the last number he's called. But he locks the screen. I watched him yesterday lock the screen and put it in his little phone thing. Walking down the hallway, all of a sudden his phone started calling me, and I knew it wasn't him. So I held up his ringtone because I have a special ringtone for him. It's that weirdo again. So.
Okay, that's weird.
So I know that it's him.
Yeah.
I give everybody their own ringtone. Like Wayne has his own, and
let me guess, is his "It's Raining Men"? Oh,
no,
I'm just guessing.
The one of them. No, it's right now. It's "Baby Got Back."
Oh,
God.
It's either that or
it used to be Time Warp, but I haven't found it again yet.
Yeah, the Time Warp.
That works with my phone.
No, I want Sweet Transvestite. Thank you.
Oh my God!
No,
yeah, you would, wouldn't you?
Just kidding. God.
Or he wants the internet is for porn. Okay. Okay.
I could upload that. I mean, I could get that on the show right now. So.
Can you imagine you call and he's in a store and all of a sudden the internet is for porn and people are going to be like, what?
Yeah.
You should put that as a ringtone. That would be so funny.
I should make a ringtone for people who butt dial people, and then they find out later, oh man, and then they turn it off or it cuts off or whatever. Then call them back and say, you're butt dialing me again. You're butt dialing me again.
I have one that sounds like a really loud fart.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they call you.
I haven't given it to anybody because I carry my phone in my pocket, and I don't want anybody hearing it and thinking that I'm passing gas. So.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it'd be nice if you could put something like that loud enough when someone calls you, because when he called me, I could hear stuff in the background, which means it was on where he could hear me. So it would be nice to get something like a fart really, really loud, so it actually sounds like he's farting. Because if he's in line somewhere, I could really embarrass him. Because that'd be funny.
That would be funny.
Jeez. You guys are terrible. I mean, come on.
What? Well, you shouldn't.
We're ex-wives, buddy.
Yeah, I know. God, jeez.
That's weird though, because he called here twice. So yeah.
Yeah. Weird. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. You want to go eat? Cause
I don't know. Whatever you want.
Oh.
Yeah, it's whatever you want.
I'm already. Just stop.
That's for another show.
Oh, I just dawned on me. I forgot to tell you. I was talking about musicals earlier. We watched a part of the video, or I should say a video of part of the play of the musical Wicked, and it was funny as hell.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I've heard it's good.
Oh, yeah, it is. The parts that I've seen. It's really...
Unfortunately, you can't find that. I mean, I really wish that... Sure, you'd still want to see the play, but I really wish they would make DVD versions of those. I mean, they could make a lot of money. People are still going to want to see the Broadway show because they're going to want to see it live. But for those who can't, it would be sure nice to make videos, because that'd make money right there if people could buy the videos.
Yeah, well, I have a video of Cats. I don't know exactly how it works, because I tried to watch it and it was horrible. So
yeah, because what about?
It looks like it may have been like they filmed it on Broadway or something, but I don't hold me to it.
But there's people who are like disabled people and people that are elderly that can't get out and do all these. They can't see these things, Yeah. And if they put it, make a DVD version of it so they can actually watch it, You know, that'd be cool. Because people are still going to want to see the play. I mean, we still want, even if we saw it on that, we still want to go see it in person.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, because you can't beat live.
No.
Yeah, and you still want to.
And here's the difference. I know Daryl's going, uh-oh, they're on theater now. No, I'm just kidding. But here's the difference. I've seen the movie Rent, and it is one of my top favorite movies now. And we've just seen the Broadway version, you know, the musical on stage. And let me tell you something. In the movie, there are some certain parts in there. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm not going to spoil it for you. But certain parts didn't really pull me into the movie for the characters, to like the characters. But when I saw it on stage, I sat there going, oh my God. You know.
Except it seemed to me, though, when I saw the movie Rent, I understood the storyline better.
Yeah.
I mean, when I saw on Broadway, I mean, when I saw that one, I didn't quite get, I mean, the songs were cooler and, you know, all that, but I didn't quite understand the storyline as I did in the movie, because well, it seemed to me like there was a lot of sing-song, and then, of course, they'd talk about situations that were happening or what was going on. Yeah, they were narrating, but there was a lot more talking and more, you know, it was the movie, of course, you're going to see scenes, they go places, it's all not fake on stage. They're actually in a place, you know, they're actually... So I kind of understood it a little bit better watching it that way. Yeah. But on stage is cool too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There are certain, and on this one, the 2008 version, the final performance, they had Jesse L. Martin on there at the end. They had the guy that played I can't remember the actor's name, but he played see, now I forgot stuff too. He played, there were 4 people that were in the original 1996 Broadway production, off-Broadway production, that were on the stage on this one at the end. And it was just fantastic. Oh, the person that played Angel opposite Jesse L. Martin's character. It was just fantastic. And the woman, Tracy Toms, was in the 1996 off-Broadway version. She was in this one.
She was on the TV show Cold Case for a little while.
Yeah. I looked her up. She's just amazing. I got a little teary-eyed because I went on YouTube yesterday and I saw an old, I think it was an old The View episode when Rosie O'Donnell was still on there. And they had a girl, she was like 11, 12 years old, and she had cystic fibrosis or something. And her favorite show, and she's watched the movie, she goes, I don't know, about a dozen times, more than 100 times, I don't know, 12 years old. And Rosie O'Donnell, she said, well, what's your favorite song? And she started singing it. The girl started singing it. From behind her, the cast of Rent came up, and the girl just went, that was, that, I got a little teary on that one.
That's cool. Yeah.
So that was
cool
awesome.
When they do that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, that one, I just saw one about a soldier. What was that one? Yes, I think you saw it too. Yeah. Where they went on that TV. Oh, they went on that show. I can't remember what show they went on. Some woman went. Oh, they were doing musical chairs.
Oh yeah.
Remember that woman and like 3 or 4 other people were doing musical chairs.
Oh yeah.
And they had to cover their eyes. And when the music stops, they had to sit down in one of the seats.
Yeah.
Well. That was on Ellen DeGeneres.
Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah, and then when the music started and they all started moving around and they removed all the chairs and everybody left except her was on there. And then her husband sat down and of course the only seat she could find was in his lap. And then she moved her eyes and all of a sudden she was sitting on him. I mean, that was really cool.
That is so cool.
Because it's like, they all
Ellen
set
does
it
a lot
up.
of cool stuff like that. I like that.
I get teary-eyed over that, but not as much as when the soldier comes home and the dog goes absolutely berserk. Daddy's home! And just barking. Oh, that sends me over
the ones that make me cry, that makes me cry too. But when you have a soldier getting to meet his baby for the first time, especially if it's like a little girl.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to cry now. Because I put a picture up on Facebook not long ago. You see a soldier getting ready to leave, and you see him in the airport, and he's holding his infant daughter, and he's sobbing. I'm like, oh, God. Kids forget that they're people, too.
You know, I don't think anybody should be deployed when they have a newborn infant. I think they should at least wait the first year.
Yeah,
I think is when their baby,
all of them would start having babies, so they wouldn't be.
Well, the thing is the first year is when they grow the most.
Yeah.
I mean, that first year,
agree.
every month they are different, and you miss that first year, you've missed it. I mean, it's completely gone, and that is the most important.
They unfortunately they know what they're doing though.
But that's not.
What I feel bad for is when it's a mother and has the baby, and she has to go right away when she's still almost like breastfeeding and everything, or you have both parents are in the military.
Oh, God.
But I don't think it's too much to ask.
Home where they do that, where they surprise their family.
I don't think it's too much to ask for the first year. I mean, a lot of places, jobs, you can take off up to 90 days and 60 days or whatever. Yeah. I don't think it's too much to ask for 1 year. I mean, that's not going to keep people having a bunch of kids.
Start using that as an excuse, though.
Yeah.
You know they will. There's always people who try to abuse that.
I just know they all need to come home now. That's all I know.
Well, I don't think they would totally abuse it because a lot of these people go into the military because they want to go into the military.
Oh, I know.
They
want
go into the
but they don't want to
military
leave their families and their wives and stuff.
But, I
know a lot of military people, and I know most of them.
So I don't think they would
meant
ever
they wouldn't
do
have
it
to go to
on
war. They would have more babies and get to stay home.
Now, it makes sense.
Most people join the war, or join the military, not expecting to have to go to war. They're expecting to get free money for college, and like the National Guard ones work 1 weekend a month and that kind of thing. They're not expecting to be going to war.
Well, what I think is really messed up is my ex's son-in-law. He just, when he turned 19, he went into the Marines. I think it was the Marines, and he did the boot camp training. It told him, after he got out, he'd get $5,000. I mean, that's what they told him, was $5,000. And he also wanted to do the special forces. Yeah, the special forces. And when he got out of that, I think he would get another additional $5,000 or $7,000. So he did the 6 weeks training, and then he went in. He passed that. He went in, and he started doing the training. I guess the special forces training or whatnot. And he pulled his joint out, his arm joint. He pulled his shoulder joint, and it wasn't his fault. He pulled his foot, it happened in training. Well, he hauled him around for months and months and months, and finally, I guess after 6 months, they have to take you out of the military, and you can re-enroll if you want to. I guess you have a certain amount of time. Yeah. Well, he stayed in there, and then he left. But the thing is, he never got the $5,000. For going, he went in, and they said that once he passed, the 6 weeks training and he went on, he'd get this $5,000. It's not his fault that he got hurt on the training. No, and now all he gets is unemployment for 2 years and he's a veteran. He actually got veteran status because he was in there for almost a year.
Yeah, recruiters lie. I know. One of my friends from high school is a recruiter. And that's the part of the job that he hates is the lying. But he likes, the excitement seeing the new, kids joining. But he says, oh yeah, he says we lie. He goes, we're actors. He said we lay it on whatever.
Oh, that's weird. I don't know. That's weird. Yeah.
Well, but I mean, at least he gets the $1,600 or $1,800 a month for the next couple of years, for unemployment. But come on, he got hurt on their job. He should get some compensation for that, I think.
Hell, my cousin went into the Marines. He was in basic training. I think he said for 8 weeks in Camp Lejeune, South Carolina, and he he broke his ankle in basic training. And the drill sergeant, the drill instructor, literally pushed him even though he had a broken ankle. The ankle healed somewhat, and he was still having trouble with it. He gets shipped off to, where'd he go? He got shipped off to Okinawa, Japan. And then his CO down there said, what's wrong with you? And he told him the story and everything. That CO told my cousin, you get to the infirmary now. And from what he understood, from what my cousin understood and told me, he says the CO got on the phone, chewed that drill instructor a new hole, and literally they had to re-break his ankle, set it correctly, and I think it was like 90 days later or something like that. He was in for 3.5 years. They gave him like 10 grand and said, you can go home on a medical discharge. He's like, see ya. He came home, So, yeah.
Yeah, because if they would have said it right then and there when it happened, I mean, he could have done that and had a little bit of bed rest or something.
Oh, yeah.
Why push him? You got hurt on the job.
Right.
And that's messed up because he was, he was going into special training, which means if he would have passed that, he would have,
Unfortunately, they forget about our military once they're broken and home. That's why they have so many vets who are homeless and on the streets, and so many vets who end up on, drugs and living in shelters and in AA and everything else. You see it all the time.
That's
I'm not
really
saying
strange,
all
though.
of them, but they really
He's
do
20 and a veteran.
Yeah, they need to take better care of the soldiers when they get home.
I think
That's
anybody
much better aftercare.
And I know this from talking to former military myself, being one I wasn't in that long, but I believe anytime you serve 2 to 4 years in the military and you get out, even if you want to go back in, doesn't matter. Everything that you need as far as medical should be absolutely, positively, 100% free. Everything.
You mean when you're out?
When you're out.
I don't know about that. I don't think necessarily think 100% because that then the government goes into debt. But I do think that they need to do something.
Yeah.
Free for so long anyway. Free for a very very long time.
Oh yeah. I've known people that went to Vietnam and stuff like that, and they were there and they hurt and all that, and they're going, well, the VA only gives me so much. It's like, well, why don't they give you everything? Well, it's the government. Yeah, that's what I thought. So but
they definitely need to take better care of them. Like I said, as hard as it is getting people taken care of, but I think they should take care of veterans instead of a bunch of welfare mamas.
And I think just in the last 2 years, or I think when Bush was in office, they closed Bethesda Naval Base. Now everybody has to go to Walter Reed, which is from what I heard, a piss hole. I'm not going to say the other word, but they all need to be taken care of. You've seen stories too, I'm sure, where you got somebody that had their leg, blown off or something, and they got a prosthetic, and they're still in the military. I'm just like, what? And it wasn't the military. I saw one segment on the news where I think it was a couple of years ago. A guy lost his leg, and the military wanted to send him home and kick him out, and he's going, "No, I'm fine. Just put a leg on me. I'll just stay here. I won't go back on the line." And they go, "Are you sure?" And the guy goes, "Yeah." So it's like, okay.
They can always find something for them to do.
Oh yeah.
My dad could never have retired from the military. He just couldn't have.
Yeah.
The military was his life.
Yeah.
And he was Army. He just was.
Was he in the reserves or active?
He was active reserves.
Oh yeah.
He did it. He was an instructor. He taught 63B wheeled vehicle maintenance.
Okay.
Oh, that's weird.
The guys would do the training, and they wouldn't even get any recognition that that they'd finished. I mean, this is lengthy training to work on these military vehicles. So my dad and his friend Charlie had their own pocket. They would go and they'd have these diplomas printed up, and then I would type their names on them.
Oh, geez.
So my dad would do this because he was a good person, certificates. And now we could just do it on the internet and print it off. But I mean, I had to line up their names and everything else, and I had like the little cursive printing, and then I had to stamp the colonel's name, but it never looked right. So I learned how to forge the colonel's name.
Oh my God!
I remember meeting him at my dad's funeral, and he introduced himself. I'm like, "Oh hey!" And I grabbed a napkin.
Yeah.
And I signed it and I handed it to him. And he looked at me and cocked his eyebrow. And he's like, "Stay away from my wife." Okay.
I did have one question about vets. Okay, if you're a veteran, do you get money? You get money, right?
You gotta fight for it, because I have a friend who's a vet. He was in Desert Storm, and he's fighting like hell now to get any kind of benefit. Yeah, because they keep making him go back to work. And he shakes. He doesn't have Parkinson's, but he has that desert syndrome, and he shakes like he has Parkinson's. And he doesn't, because he's been checked for that. He's been checked for everything.
You always see these people that ask for money, and they say they're vets. I'm wondering, don't they get money?
Very little.
Yeah. It's almost very like little. General assistance. It's like $200 or $300 bucks.
Is. And then as they start working, I think they cut a lot of that off, too.
Oh, hey, I did not know this. If I did, I seem to have forgotten. But Daryl served 12 years in the U.S. Navy. Desert Shield, Desert Storm.
Thank you.
Hope. Thank you very much. My hat's off to you.
Yes, just because my dad was Air Force first, he did National Guard, and he ended up really liking the Army Reserves. My dad was of the feeling if you serve your country, he doesn't care what branch you're in, you're awesome. So that's how my late father raised me. I don't prefer one above the other. I think all military is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So your dad was in the military, and now your niece is in the military?
My dad was in the Army Air Corps back in 1945, and then it became the Air Force. They just kind of put everything together and made that. And then my niece, my dad served 3 years, and he told me last time I was down there, he says, yeah, you're supposed to be in like 3 years before you become a sergeant. He goes, I made sergeant in 6 months because of the captain. I'm like, okay.
Oh, yeah, my dad made sergeant pretty quick, too.
Oh, yeah, my niece
My dad was the master sergeant when he passed away.
My niece was in the Navy, and she got out after her, 4 years, and then she went to Texas, did some Air Force stuff. She's in the Air Force, and now she's living in what's that base up there in Sacramento? McClellan Air Force Base. She's up there in Sac, and she loves it. She just really enjoys it, and I'm really, really proud of her. I suck about myself because I should have just stayed in. I should have got, it was at the time when they didn't have rehab or anything or helped you out. Now it's, a little bit better.
You should have told them that you had clairvoyant gifts. They would have definitely used you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know former military from the...
I know somebody who did that kind of work for the military.
Yeah, so. And I know people who were from Southern California, from Vandenberg Air Force Base, and also up in Sacramento. And I told them what I did, and they're going, "Oh, don't let them know about that at all. Don't let anybody from the military know you do that, because they'll snag you up in a heartbeat." And I'm like, "Oh, I already know they know I do this."
The government knows everything we do.
I do remote viewing, and I know that program. I've looked in some of the MK Ultra and other programs as well. And let me tell you something: they take people like us who do remote viewing and clairvoyant mediums, and they chew us up and spit us out in a heartbeat.
So, you got out because of the drinking and stuff.
I got out because I drank too much.
Back when they were like drafting people, couldn't you have just said, "I'm an alcoholic"?
No, they didn't care.
So why would they care in the 80s?
In wartime, they don't care.
They don't care. I know my cousin went in. My cousin Craig went into the Navy, and he went to Vietnam. And he was there, and he came out the worst alcoholic than he went in. And he came out and hustled pool and stuff like that, and I learned a few tricks from him when I was a kid. That's how I got through high school, hustling
Now,
pool.
what I want to know is, the people that go through that kind of thing, and they come out, and then they end up doing bad things after that, now whose fault is that? Because, I mean, if they go in there and they get all twisted from all the stuff they're seeing, like these ones that, end up, shooting people or whatever. I mean, some of them really do have what's that, PH?
PTSD.
Yeah.
PTSD.
And some of these people do come out violent and junk. And what, you just going to turn around and put them in jail when they do something? When the reason that they're that
because
way?
They still kill. These people go in the military knowing what they're going to have to do, knowing that...
No, I'm talking about the ones who got drafted.
Do crap in war that they wouldn't have to do in a normal thing.
I mean
it's a great idea. They need help, but they shouldn't get a pass on breaking the law just because they were in the military.
No, I'm talking about the ones in Vietnam who came back, because a lot of them got drafted. They didn't have a choice. Yeah. And they came back all effed up. I mean, they didn't ask to go in there. Yeah. And they came because they saw a lot back then.
But not all of them.
When I was in the Air Force, and now the base is closed, thank you, President Clinton, Chanute Air Force Base in Illinois, I met a sergeant, one of the staff sergeants there, Robert Steele, and he told us, like 3 or 4 of us were standing around. I said, "Sir, you got a rifle there on your uniform. What's that?" And he's like, "Oh, I was in Vietnam." And I was in 1982, 83, so he was old enough to be in Vietnam. It wasn't that long ago. before that. And he goes, yeah, I was a sniper.
Well, Vietnam ended in the mid-'70s.
So. It ended in 1974 because my brother was sweating bullets. He goes, I'm graduating next year. I don't want to be drafted. But,
right.
yeah. And so I asked the sergeant, I said, well, what did you do? And he goes, well, I was a sniper, and I'd kill people and, stuff like that. And I'm like, well, did you get out? And he goes, oh, yeah, I got out, spent like a year out and was living with my mom. And I was on my motorcycle. My hair is really long, and I'm just having a good time. And a limousine pulls up, or a black car pulls up, and two guys get out. And he told us, he goes, the guy opened up a briefcase, and I saw all this money. And he goes, I want you to work for me. And the sergeant goes, the next day I went down to the Air Force recruiter and said, I'm going in. And he was in ever since. He's going, no, screw that. Because they knew, a good sniper, you get out of the military in those days, $50,000 a shot. I mean, you can make a decent living.
Oh, yeah. My friend who was in Desert Storm, he had been in the military right after high school. Yeah. And then he had done his time as an MP, was in Pearl Harbor, did a lot of stuff. That's where he was stationed. He got married and went back in the military. He had been out when Desert Storm happened, and he knew that he felt the need to have to go when all that was happening. And then, the government thanks him by saying, oh, there is no Gulf War syndrome. There's nothing wrong with you. You can work. Meanwhile, you can't hold a pen. You can't hold a steering wheel. Yeah. But they're letting him make cars for GM.
Oh, my God.
Well, before we go, I did have this one really big moral question.
I'm going to go to bed.
Okay. He can hear me. Yeah. Okay, a serious moral question here. Okay. It is wrong to kill somebody, no matter what your excuse is, no matter what you can. Yeah, no, it doesn't matter if you're fighting a personal war, if you're ticked off at somebody, you cannot kill somebody. Yet, for people who go in the military that do things where they're on the front line and where they're shooting people, obviously they got to get people who are willing to kill somebody, and not only that, but they're killing people. Now, why is it that it's okay for, what's the excuse now then, morally, that it's okay for them to shoot people because the government says you got to shoot these people or however it is you got to do it? But boy, if you come over here and you do something, no matter what the excuse is, it's murder and you can't do it. See, that's why I get so confused.
I think
that's what I'm saying. I mean, I get so confused over that. Because for one, for people to even have war, there's got to be human beings who are willing to kill somebody. So, but yet people who are willing to kill somebody who actually do it when they're not in the military, they go to prison for it. But if they kill somebody in the military, then it's okay.
Personally, for them, it's maybe the reasoning for it. I mean, if you kill somebody because they steal your drugs or because they steal your woman, I mean, I think it's different if some, for them. I mean, I'm just speaking how my dad was.
I don't know, but I mean, war. Aren't we going to war because somebody's trying to take something from us? Or, I mean, it's on a bigger scale, but there's still the underlying somebody's trying to take something that belongs to somebody else. Or there's a fear that something's going to happen because of it. So that's why I have a hard time with that.
Because, I mean, look at 9/11, what they did. They had people willing to fly planes into here to try to take out, Americans. What they did was wrong, but they needed to pay for it. I don't know if death or whatever, but I can't answer that. I think
that is the biggest thing I have a problem with of everything.
Listen, I can answer how my dad would. My dad would basically say, it's a little bit different when you're trying to protect your country to keep people from coming here and killing the people.
But what if you're protecting your land? What if somebody's trying to take your land from you and you shoot them? But that's wrong. I mean, you can't do that. But somebody's trying to take your land.
Well, you can't.
So that's what I'm saying. Morally, I'm confused.
There are people who get away with it, though. Like Randy Weaver. What happened with the government? He got away with
Randy Weaver. Yeah.
I think it depends on the individual situation.
Because I think, seriously,
times of war
if you can't do something, you shouldn't do it, period. No exceptions, you can't do it. So that's where I get morally confused on something.
Well, like Daryl just said, and he makes a good point, too. And I want to preface it by saying there's your way, my way. Some people say there's a right way or a wrong way. There is no right way of doing anything. It's a way to where we feel comfortable for ourselves in that particular situation. That's how I look at it. But Daryl said there is no moral answer. It's called PSYOP, beginning with boot camp, basically a version of brainwashing, gung-ho, hoorah, and stuff like that. And
absolutely.
When I was in, that's basically what I got in boot camp, and it's all the breakdown. I mean, you're one way when you go in.
Oh, it doesn't just start with boot camp. Like I just said, my friend who's the Air Force recruiter.
Oh, yeah.
Lying and brainwashing. Oh, yeah, you're not going to see combat. Oh, it's going to be all girls in bikinis and everywhere else. Yeah.
So if they're tearing you down to make you morally where you want to kill people, then why do people get so upset if they come back and they do something like that?
Well,
because they've been morally taught to be broken down.
Yeah, what it is...
they don't tear you down to want to kill people.
No, what it is when I went in, I was like, hey, I'm a rocker, I do this. I was 20, I was like drugging it and drinking and doing all that. That's what I was. By the time I got out of basic training, I was like, yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, I was like, you cannot take the military out of the man. Trust me. I'm kind of loose on that, but... It's they tear you down and humiliate you to where you're now at a certain level where they can instill, and it's after about 2 to 3 weeks.
Well, I don't think all of them humiliate you. I think it depends on the individual drill instructor. Because I do remember talking to my dad about that, and he told me he never had them yell things about his mom being a whore or anything like that. He said, he had drill instructors who were tough, but he said he never had experienced that. But then, yet at the same time, my brother did experience ones like that.
Yeah.
Well, that our
individual.
That R. Lee Ermey that did Full Metal Jacket, he really was a drill sergeant. He actually did that. Before he became an actor, he really was a drill sergeant.
He actually was in the Marines when he got, not interested, but a movie company came in and asked him, hey, can you do this? And he goes, yeah, sure, why not? And then after that, of course, his career skyrocketed because he retired. He goes, hell, I make more money working in a movie than I do on retirement.
Yeah, he always plays drill sergeant. Or
a judge. I saw him as a judge once. But
he was even a ghost drill sergeant in the Frighteners.
Yeah, I was at Lackland Air Force Base in the, I think it was the, if I can remember correctly, 2602 Squadron. And I'll tell you what, I don't know, man. I am all for supporting those people that can go through basic training. Seriously. I was in Chanute Air Force Base when I got kicked out. I was kicked out after about 5 months, 5.5 months, something like that, because I drank too much. And that's, the Air Force, you can't do that. Nowadays, interesting story about that. Before I signed up with the Air Force, I went to, my friend of mine and I went to the Marine recruiting office, and the Marine recruiter looked at me and says, you play pool? I'm going, yeah. I mean, I didn't tell him I hustled pool, but I play pool. He opened his bottom drawer of his desk on his left side, and in there was the tall can of Budweiser beer, and he had a six-pack. He goes, you want to go play some pool? I went, no. He wanted to get me drunk and sign me up.
That's weird.
And my friend didn't go either. He went in the Army. He was 16. His mom had to sign, but...
well, I don't understand. I don't understand why they pulled you out. Why didn't they just tell you you've lost your privileges to go where they sell beer? I mean, they could have just told you don't have privileges to go there anymore. Why did they just pull you out?
In the uniform.
Yeah.
I mean, that's dumb. I mean, they're offering
you
this place
you agree to a certain way to be.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and by the way, a little something that a lot of people, maybe Daryl might know this, but if you get a sunburn, that's destruction of government property. And you can be court-martialed for getting a sunburn. I read the USM, I think the Uniform Code of Military Justice, UCMJ. Conduct unbecoming of the uniform. Yeah, and now they have, from what I understand, I don't know if I got to check this out, but I've heard they have like rehab. If somebody, is they send you to rehab and stuff like that. I don't know if that's true, but that I wish I had that back then. I would have stayed out of the Airmen's Club.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know why instead of just dropping you out like that, they just no more privileges to the club.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just not allowed to go there anymore.
Exactly.
I mean, why just pull you out? I mean, that seems like a cop out.
Yeah.
Go through all that, and then
I mean, even now, I mean, when I got out, I tried to get back in, but the DD Form 214s that I had a 2C reenlistment code, which, I talked to Congressman Richard Pombo out of the San Joaquin County area. He's a congressman. I talked to a lot of other people. I couldn't get this thing off my record. I don't know what the hell this thing is, but I can't get it off my record. I even talked to Harry Reid here about getting this thing off my record. The Armed Services Department said, well, no, we can't do that, blah, blah, blah. They gave me all that legal mumbo-jumbo. And it was like, well, okay, it must be on my record. It's other than honorable discharge is what it is, really. And the captain that tried to help me stay in said, well, if you go out, it's like you were never in. Well, then how come I couldn't get back in 5 years after I got out?
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Seriously.
I agree with that.
So, but now, since I have developed my gifts over the last, since I've been out, I've talked to several other people. Like I said, I've talked to former, people who were in that program. And they said, don't ever let them know you do this. Don't even go into a recruiting office. Don't even go to, don't call them. Don't do anything. They know you're around. They know what you do. Don't tell them,
Well, you'd be a little safer now because you're a little smidgy older.
So once you get out of the military, do you have to do boot camp all over again to get back in?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
I've known people to stay out for 2 years, but then turn around, went back in. They had to go back through the whole thing again. But
my dad had to go through it 3 times.
Yeah, but the rank that they had when they got out the first time, they go from there.
Yeah.
My ex-wife, my first ex-wife, Wendy, she was in ROTC in high school. She went to the recruiters and talked to them and did all that. Showed them everything that she had and all. And they were going to put her in as an E3 right away. And it's like, holy crap.
I probably could have done the military because I was on the track team. I mean, I ran track for, 4 or 5 months. If I could do that, I'm sure that I could have done boot camp. I mean, seriously. Back when I was fit.
Yeah, talking about the reenlistment code, Daryl said has to go before an Armed Services Committee, then approved Service Secretary branch, and then get judicial review. Didn't get any of that. I just got a letter saying we've looked over your records and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I want to go in front. Now I'm 50. They probably wouldn't even care. But, I want to get that thing written off. I don't know what it is. I don't know why I couldn't get back in. But again, with my gifts, they'll probably say, hey, you're an old man. We need to.
Is it just that branch, or you couldn't get into any military
I went
branch?
to the Navy. And they said, well, do you have your DD Form 214? I went, I do somewhere. Oh, bring that back in. And I did. And they looked at it. Oh, you got to get this, taken off. And okay, it's like I was never in, according, and they're going, well, we got a lot of procedures to go through. And I'm just like, okay. So I never
even tell you how to get it off?
No. I just
weird.
I never pursued it after that. If I would have went in when I was 20, I went in when I was 20, but if I would have went in when I was 25, 26, I would have stayed in.
So you should search that number online and find out what it means.
Yeah.
Huh, that's weird.
Yeah, Daryl says you can still have it reviewed and changed to an RE1, and I forgot for the life of me what that was. If you have that information, Daryl, thank you. I'm going to go look it up later, but, but yeah, if I was in, at 25, I would have got out at 45 and, went from there. I know people right now that have 2 retirements, they got their military retirement, plus they have a retirement from job.
He has 2 retirements. He has one from the Navy, and he has one from Ford.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, because I like the military, but nowadays, no, not so much. I still support my troops. I still support, anybody that goes to these, places and then comes home safe. Yes, I'll hug you. Let's go to Disneyland. I'll buy you a beer. I mean, seriously. But I don't know. I mean, things have changed. And I don't I feel like, okay, if I was in, what would I do right now? If I was retired and everything, I would just sit back and go fishing. Because but then again, on the other hand, I would have never learned what I have learned in the last 30 years. I never would have met the people that I've met. I've never would have had the experiences that I've had. The universe lines everything up for us in a way that's going to help us understand, number one, ourselves, number two, situations, and, et cetera from there. And I'm so glad. I don't regret any of my past. Can't go back and change it. Why should I regret it? But I've learned a great deal for me now that has really helped me understand, a lot of things about life, about myself, what I can and cannot do, and stuff like that.
Yeah. Speaking of that, yesterday when I had this customer service thing I had to go to with my job, the woman at the she said something like, "Oh, this guy." I was watching a video about customer service. He said, "You can't change your past. Your past is your past. You can't change it. Basically, your past is just pictures in your head. So, since they're just pictures in your head, change the pictures." I mean, I thought it was weird what he's like. So, I mean, the things that are in your head, yes, they were experiences, but now they're just pictures. Because they're memories, but basically they're like pictures in your head. I mean, you look back on things, and they're just a series of pictures that you take one after the other. And then he's saying something like, change the pictures. To, rewrite some of the pictures. I'm like, oh, well, that's true. I mean, it's like, you just pretend you have a one of those Adobe programs or something, and take out parts of your.
It's like your mind is an etch and sketch. Shake it.
But it's true. I mean,
yes. Use the paint program, then I can paint my past the way I would have liked it.
Yeah, PSP. That was thinking Paint Shop Pro. But I'm thinking, because yes, they were experiences, and they're all, but they are just pictures in your head now. They're pictures that have been, that kind of thing. But now they're not, they're not things that you can touch. Yeah. They've become pictures. Change some of your pictures to look different.
Won't that change how you?
No, maybe you just change how you see the pictures.
Yeah.
Not that the picture, You know how sometimes you look at a picture and you're like, oh, bad negative things are from this picture.
Oh.
But instead, change the picture to a different way of seeing the picture.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. You see the picture differently.
Yeah. Speaking of pictures.
Oh, yeah, he's got some pictures.
Yeah.
But so I thought that was kind of interesting. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess you could, not so much that you can change pictures. You can't change them in your head, but you can change the way you see them and view them.
Yeah.
You can catalog them differently. You can, put some pictures in a box, pile it away in the back of your head, never look at it again. And then your most favorite pictures that are good memories to you, file those right there where you can see them every day. And all the other pictures, just put them in the back of the closet with a lid on them, never to be seen again. The pictures are there, but they're just hidden.
Let them collect dust.
And every favorite picture of every favorite memory that you have, store that right there where you can just reach it every day. Yeah. Every picture that you want to pull out, right there, right in front of you. That you can. So that makes sense.
And it's like you're not rewriting history. You're just looking at it from a different point of view. And I can say that because I look at certain things now, or from back then, I saw it from a certain point of view and said, oh, this. Later, I look at it and go, what? That was kind of stupid. Why didn't I, and I look at it at a different point of view and went, that's why that happened, so I can't rewrite the history. As Daryl was saying, he says you can't rewrite history, learn from it. And that's true. I mean,
that's what I mean, store away some of the pictures. And it's really weird. I was thinking about things that happened to you in life. You know how you have positive experiences and negative experiences.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes those negative experiences, it's okay. For example, I just read somewhere where some guy was homeless on a street with his dog. And for some reason, somebody went up and kicked the dog or did something to the dog. I don't know, but the guy ended up on the news. And because of this, somebody gave him a job, and a whole bunch of stuff happened because of this incident. Now, that was a negative incident that happened, that somebody hit the dog. But all of this positive stuff started happening. People were giving him money. Oh, yeah. He got a job. And out of one little piece of negative, a whole bunch of positive happens. Like even all that bad stuff that happened with the shooting at the movie theater. Yeah, yeah. Now, I was reading the comments of people and the stuff in the letters that I was reading, online. What people were saying when they came out of the movie theater. One person said, "I used to ignore everything that happened in life. Now I'm going to start paying attention, and I'm going to start living my life to the fullest." I don't know how many people I read in that article was saying that exact same thing. Even in the comments, people were saying, "Yeah, I'm not going to take life for granted anymore." Now, that was a bad thing that happened to those people that it happened, but it just reverberated a gazillion good things to all these other people who are now going to start paying attention to their life. Yeah. So out of negativity comes
they'll say that now and then they'll change, because they said that after 9/11 and
but some people, it helps some people.
It only changed for a little while. I think they mean well, and it does.
But not everybody. Some people it will change.
I think a lot of people they get caught up in the moment.
Well, that's like the 89.
Yeah, but
like when I was living in California, the 89, I was living here in Reno, but I heard about the 89 Northridge earthquake, and I saw the video and all that. And neighbors were coming out going, "I don't even know my neighbor, and I've lived here all this time," and we came out and we helped the fire department. And it's like, what? I'm thinking to myself, they didn't even know, they've lived there for years and didn't know their neighbors, but now they're working together to try to save it. It's like, now that's cool,
Yeah, that reminds me of the starfish. Years ago, I heard this story about this little girl. There were hundreds of starfish on the seashore, right there, all the fish had come in from the ocean, and they were all dying out on the... Well, this little girl started throwing the starfish back in the water. And some guy came up to her and said, "You're not going to be able to save all those starfish." And she goes, "Yeah, I know, but I saved that one. The one that she threw into the water." So sometimes you won't be able to help everybody, but there's always going to be a few in there that you've helped.
Oh, yeah.
So, so I see things that way.
Well, then people, they'll get mad. They'll say you'll give one guy, money because he asked for money for food. And then you'll have somebody, and I won't forget this. I was with my brother, and my brother handed this guy. We were in downtown Detroit doing some paperwork or something after my dad, and he gave the guy money. And this guy came up to him and was like, "Oh, he's just going to go buy booze at that." And my brother says it doesn't matter. He said, "I gave it to him for food. What he chooses to do with it is his. It's on him. I chose to give it to him for what he asked for."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's true.
Oh, yeah.
And I never forgot that about my brother. He forgot about that until I reminded him of that the other day. He goes, "I did that?"
But see, I don't think, though, that people see... being said I'm 360 and I look back on things, yes, there are negative things that happen, but I bet you for every negative thing, there's probably a ton of positive things that came out of it. But nobody sees the reverberation. Nobody's, because everybody wants to focus on the negative thing that happened. They don't pay attention to everything else, all the dominoes that fell after it. There's always these dominoes, but you don't see that because it's so small and so minuscule, though it's big, but there's ripples. There's always ripples to everything that happens.
It's almost like a giant Jenga game, You do something, you're pulling this, and you're doing that, and you're going, "Oh, God, I hope it doesn't fall apart." And then you pull one, and it all falls apart. You're like, "Ah, damn."
I know. So people think they're doing People that think they're doing negative stuff, in the end, it might not be quite as negative as they think that they're doing. Yeah. In the long run, because we don't know what really, we don't pay attention to what, the scales that life is giving, We don't see all of that. We don't see it. But I'm sure that the scales probably, there.
Yeah, the way it looks, the scale's way over on one end at this point, I think. But, yeah.
No, it just seems that way, but I don't think it is. I think in there, I'm sure the scale's staying.
There has to be a balance. When I was, let's just say, in doing spiritual work, I learned a great deal. It's all a matter of timing, and it's all a matter of how we. And again, if you watch one of my favorite movies is Star Wars. If you watch Empire Strikes Back, I mean, Obi-Wan literally says it's all about perspective. It's all about perception. How do you see this? How do you, so how we see things literally is we can't compare it to anything else. If we see something outside of our range of understanding, we're going, oh my God, it's so scary, it's whatever, because we always have to compare it to something else. So if we look at something and try to examine, okay, what if this happens, this will happen, and if I do this, that, we can't do that because it's pointless. I mean, the Buddhists talk about that, and some of the Taoist people, people that, are into Taoism, they showed me that too. It's like the only thing that matters really is this minute, right now. We can plan for the best future, but right now is where we need to be. It's like the task at hand. What are we doing now? Yeah, we can plan, we can work, we can do stuff, and hopefully have the best that we can in the next year or so. But the universe is going to go, really? We got something a whole lot better for you, and that's...
Yeah, and sometimes you don't know, like that one song with Rascal Flatts, God bless the broken road that led me straight to you.
Yeah.
I mean, you went through some bad relationships, and you thought, but see, look where it went, look where the direction it went to.
Yeah.
So see, I mean, it looks negative right now, but you don't know what's going to happen a few years down the road.
I mean, I've literally, doing my spiritual work, have seen stuff that would just send chills and get your blood chilled all at the same time. And it's just, oh my God, and I'm like, okay, what does this mean? It means that we as individuals can determine our future because our focus determines our reality, is what Qui-Gon Jinn said, the character in Star Wars. And that's truly the best thing that I ever heard. Our focus determines our reality. And it's like if we're focused on negative and this and that, and it drives us nuts, well, that's our reality. But if we, look at positive things and love and generosity and all that, that's our reality. But I also believe there has to be a balance at some point. If we're too much on one side, we're not enough on another, we need to somehow find a happy median in there somewhere, to try to balance all that out. I know that's deep. I mean, really.
Well, yeah, you can go on forever on that.
Yeah. And Daryl said perhaps that's like the movie Jacob's Ladder, living in his future on his deathbed, life as he would have wanted it. Garth Brooks said, he writes a thing in here, thank God for unanswered prayers. I mean, we're always asking God for something, and it's like, wait a minute, hold on, what do you want? I looked at the universe and talked to, I'm going to say this, I've talked to celestial teachers in my spirit work, and they looked at me and they said, here's this. And they go, we know you want, to do this. Here's what you want to do. But your destiny lies on a different path. And I'm like, really? Can you show me what you want me to do? I'll do it. And this was back like 93, 94. And I went, okay, that seems fair to me. And they go, it's going to be a challenge. I went, good enough. Well, let's do it, And I'd only been 4 or 5 years clean and sober at that point. And I'm like, what do I got to lose? You know what I mean? Now I've been 24 years clean and sober, so that's kind of cool. I never thought I'd reach 50, let alone, be here. You know what I mean? It's like, so roads do lead you in different places. We just have to be prepared to take the bumps along the way, and be able to jump over the potholes if we can, or go around them. So, wow, I just noticed the time. It's the top of the hour.
Oh, gee. Yeah, I guess I got to go because I'm really getting hungry now.
Yeah, I hear her stomach going, feed me. Oh, my
wow. God. Oh, never mind.
A little shop of horrors going on over here.
Feed me, Seymour. Oh, never mind.
Feed me, Seymour. Anyway, all right. Hey, Daryl, thank you very much. And awesome. Thanks for sharing Morality runs as a spectrum of a pendulum, many stages that are all needed to become as one. Ooh, I like that. That's cool. Good night. Laura, good night.
Good night.
Yeah, we'll do this, next week maybe?
Yeah, it sounds good.
So, anywho, all right, we will, well, hold on, I gotta do something here. No, I'm not kidding. There we go.
Okay, cool.
Now we'll get out of here.
Yeah, we're out of here.
We're gonna go away now.
Bon voyage!
Enjoy your weekend, enjoy the rest of your Friday or Saturday, depending on where you're at, and we shall be back next week. We'll let you know. Talk to you later. Bye.